Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Don't you understand, George? It's because you were not born.
Film Church.
Well, a boy's best friend is his mother.
All right, let's do this. One last time.
Hello, and welcome to Film Church Radio, the podcast that treats cinema as a religion. It's Sunday, I'm the one and only Spider-Man.
And I'm Spider-Brandon.
And we are here to talk about movies. Each week, Brandon and I alternate picking a film for us both to watch and discuss. Today, I picked the film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse from 2018. Brandon and I are both big webheads. We have got one of our earliest podcasters was talking for about 3 hours about No Way Home just after we had seen it. So you can go back and listen to that and hear us get all excited about what the possibility of what's going to happen next will be. It's a great listen. So we are going to be talking about the other great Spider-Man film that came out in the last few years, and hopefully get us hyped for the new one that's out in just a couple of days at time of recording. Very exciting. We'd like to thank everyone that has been listening to the podcast and sending their love for the show. We've recently hit a huge milestone for the show, which we're very happy with. So thank you everyone for being here and being a part of the Film Church. It means a lot. As we are a film church, we post new episodes on Sundays, so that's when to look out for them. But all of our past episodes are available whenever you need them. So you don't have to wait till Sunday. You can get down and preach whenever you want. You can find us on all social medias at Film Church Radio, where you can leave us a comment or send a message about the show. We post loads of stuff on YouTube and TikTok and all over social media. So that'd be great. And we're also being hosted by Spotify at the moment. So if you want to go and listen to Spotify, or if that's the platform you use to listen to us, I should say, we really appreciate it. It's helping us out. Thank you again so much.
We also have video on Spotify for certain episodes. Not every episode, but ones with guests usually have video.
That's right. So instead of listening to it on your podcast device and then going to watch the YouTube and trying to sync it up, which is going to be really hard, just watch it all on Spotify. That's what I'd do. That's what I do. Normally, this would be the part of the show where Brandon and I talk about other films that we've been watching, where we sing some praises. But in a Film Church first, we're going to skip that and we're going to go right to the feature presentation because we love Spider-Man so much we can't wait to talk about it.
There's nothing to praise here but Spider-Man in this episode.
That's right. Everything is weak in comparison. So we're going to do it. We're just going to go straight into our feature presentation. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse from 2018. The Letterboxd summary reads, "More than one wears the mask. Miles Morales is juggling his life between being a high school student and being a Spider-Man. When Wilson Kingpin Fisk uses a super collider, others from across the Spider-Verse are transported to this dimension." We have both seen this before. This is not a first-time watch for either of us.
Yeah,
but as we said at the beginning, the new one's coming out and it looks amazing. So any reason to go back and watch it. Did you first see this in the cinema, Brandon?
Of course I did. I'm pretty sure I saw it opening night. I mean, I'm going to go see every Spider-Man movie opening night. Yeah. I mean, it looked really good from the trailers. There was like a little teaser at the end of Venom, if you had gone to see that in cinemas, like normally with Marvel movies. And this isn't an MCU film, but you know, with MCU films, you get like the little teaser at the end. So with Venom, Sony did a full sequence of the train sequence at the end of Venom, you know, when Miles has Peter B. Parker strapped to him and they get stuck on the train and they're flying through New York. I mean, yeah, I was on board. I was like, this looks amazing. This is going to be amazing. I didn't quite realize how amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. I mean, this movie just swept every thing. Like it just took
Yeah.
the world by storm, I feel like, and just swept people off their feet. And probably because it's animated and because, you know, I mean, there's been so many Spider-Man movies, there's been so many superhero films that people's expectations were a little bit lower,
Yeah.
and it just blew people away.
Hmm.
And just, yeah, it's like it's a cultural phenomenon now. You know what I mean?
I know.
Miles
Yeah.
Morales is Spider-Man
Yeah.
now. You know what I mean? Whereas like before it was just kind of a campaign. I mean, there was some comic books and people, you know, there was a lot of the comics were popular, but they like Miles Morales wasn't around until 2011. Like that's when the first comic book dropped. So it's like there was some hype, there was some, you know, campaigning, but then when this movie came out, it just changed everything, I feel like.
Yeah. I was super cynical. I was assuming that because Sony had done like the Venom, they were just cashing in on the IP that they owned,
Yeah.
you know, away from Marvel, so they could do, you know, like that our own Spider-Man film.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, I was wrong. I think as soon as like you saw the trailer, I had a feeling that it was going to be something a little bit different. Just from the animation style.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe because it is like a comic book.
Yeah.
It's like you're reading a comic book the whole way through.
Yeah. Well, even the frame rate, it's like you can see the frame rate almost because it's like
Yeah.
a little choppy,
Yeah.
you know, in a way where you can see the individual frames in a way. Like not really, but you kind of feel like you can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And plus they're mixing animation styles too.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. So it starts off, obviously, with we get the real Spider-Man, the real Peter Parker, giving us a little bit of an introduction into his life, kind of a quick recap of what we already know. He does the dance.
Played by Chris
then-
Pine.
Yeah, I love Chris Pine. And kind of we get it set up as, you know, I'm the one and only Spider-Man. Obviously, we know from all marketing campaign that he isn't the only Spider-Man. But then, you know, pretty early on he dies. And Miles Morales gets bitten and becomes this Earth's Spider-Man. And then other spider people get pulled in and they all fight the Kingpin, which is a perfect villain for animation and like this kind of larger than life approach to it.
Yeah.
Because the Kingpin can be ginormous.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Which we love.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is... I mean, to me, before this, it was like the ultimate Kingpin was like the Spider-Man, the Kingpin in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon show, which he was big, but not as big as this. And then like giving him the, you know, that deep like New York accent was like perfect. You know? It's like, yes, of course.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I love
And I do-
Vincent D'Onofrio in the Daredevil series, and now he's coming into the MCU, and I'm excited to see what they do with that because I feel like, you know, the last time we saw him, he was in the Hawkeye finale.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched that.
I did.
Okay, cool. So at the end, and you know, at the end of that, he like gets shot, but you know he's coming back. I'm hoping what they do with that is that he needs some kind of surgery or he needs some kind of super soldier serum to kind of help keep him alive, but then it turns him into the massive beast that
Yeah.
he is in like this animated movie.
Yeah. Yeah, we both spoke that I mean, for the live action, we really hope that with Daredevil and stuff coming into the MCU, that New York becomes its own world in a way, and there's like, it's a bit more grounded in reality as opposed to aliens and
Yeah, exactly.
you
Yeah,
know,
street level
other
heroes.
dimensions. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that this, again, I think that this is something that Into the Spider-Verse does really well, is that Kingpin as a villain, like, yeah, it's very aggressive, but it's not like world domination, world ending. It's something very personal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a tragic story. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
depth to his character. You know, he's motivated by love and violence.
Yes. Yeah. Which we see. I mean, we see a lot more of the violence, but, you know, you feel for him. You kind of, you can understand what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
in terms of the end goal, you know,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And a really good villain.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, just as a Spider-Man fan, you
Yeah.
know, going into this movie, it's funny because like before this movie, I feel like there was such Spider-Man fatigue. You know, we had, and people forget real easy and real quick, you know, where
Yeah.
we were at certain points, you know, because it's like now, like right now, it's 2023. We want all the Spider-Man we can get. And the last Spider-Man movie that came out was Spider-Man No Way Home. And people are like, yeah, Andrew Garfield is great and Toby is great. But you know how many people hated those guys for so long?
Yeah.
You know? And like they just act like they didn't. They just act they're like, "Oh, yeah, we always loved parts of the Andrew Garfield movie." It's like, "No, you didn't.
He didn't.
Shut up. You did not."
Yeah.
And like at this point in 2018, the previous Spider-Man movie that had come out was Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people really like and I've grown to love. But when that first came out, I wasn't the biggest fan.
I'm with you. Yeah, I can remember coming out of the cinema and being like, eh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like I love Spider-Man, dude. Spider-Man is my guy. That's it. Like that's the person that I've attached to and kind of like base my morality on, honestly. You know, I'm like, when I think of like a person doing the right thing and like a person to aspire to be, I'm like Peter Parker, you know?
Yeah.
But even at this time in 2018, before this movie came out, it's like, you know, we needed something for the Spider-Man fans. You know, we needed something. I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I still, obviously, I still do. But like, I just wanted to see the version of Spider-Man that was in my head on screen. You know, I felt I hadn't had that in a long time. And then this movie comes out, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And not only do we get that, we get like some of the best versions of Spider-Man we have ever seen, including the villains.
Yeah.
You know, and like right off the bat, you get like this ginormous gargoyle style Green Goblin that is like super fresh and interesting. And you're like, holy crap. Like that is one of the coolest Green Goblins I have ever seen.
Yeah.
You know, the best Kingpin I have ever seen. And then you also get so many, like just the catalog of Spider-Man villains, not only just the different Spider people, but the Spider-Man villains. You get so many good ones in this movie.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it, I was just like, oh my God, this is so great and fun and just like everything that I needed in my life at the time. And then after that, I was like, if I'm the MCU, if I'm Kevin Feige and Tom Holland, I'm nervous as hell right now because they're working on a new Spider-Man movie. And it's like within, I guess it was like literally the next summer.
Yeah.
It was like literally 6 months later, Spider-Man Far From Home comes out. And I'm like, how can this be any better than Into the Spider-Verse? And it was so good. It was so good.
Yeah.
And then of course Spider-Man, of course you got the, you know, Avengers in between and stuff, but then you get Spider-Man No Way Home, and they kind of do the multiverse thing. But different. You know, and bring Toby and Andrew back, and it's like it feels like that some kind of switch changed. Like something happened where the people at least working on Spider-Man realized that, oh, people who love Spider-Man should be making these movies. People who get it should be making these movies. And I think that's what changed. It's people who really love these characters working on these films, and it like comes through.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I think, you know, my biggest gripe with No Way Home, you know, I love it to bits, but I was like, where are the Spider-Men that we haven't seen on screen before? You know, if this universe is so big,
Yeah.
the two you pull through are the two that we've had movies before. Whereas this is not afraid to. It's like,
But the difference between this movie and Spider-Man No Way Home is this is the first. You know what I mean? This is an origin story. This is introducing you to a new world. Whereas Spider-Man Far From Home is trying to be the 8th film in an 8-film series.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
it's trying to link all of those movies together as like a set of movies you can watch together. Because you can look at it as like, well, the reason they showed up is because we've been telling this story because we knew the whole time that they were going to be the two that ended up showing up.
yeah, yeah,
So you can kind of write it off that way as like
yeah.
whatever. But yeah, it still works.
Yeah, it does, 100%. So let's run through some of the Spider people that we see. I mean, we'll save Miles for last, I think, because I think we'll have a lot to say.
Okay.
Obviously, the first one that we get is Chris Pine as the one and only Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Blonde-haired, blue-eyed. Yeah, he's kind. I think
Spider-Man.
he's a lot of what we've already seen, which
Yeah.
they play into. You know,
Uh-huh.
we get the full like, oh, I stopped to train and I did this and I did that, and did the dance, and then, you know, he's 26. I think they're saying.
Yeah,
that
exactly,
He's,
yeah.
like, he's still young.
But he's been doing it for 10 years.
Yes, so he's pretty seasoned at it by now. You know, he's got the, you know, the gift of the gab. You know, when he's fighting the goblin, and then Kingpin before he dies, he's very, you know, witty and stuff, which is kind of the Peter Parker that we already
Yeah.
know.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one we get is Peter B. Parker, played by Jake Johnson, who is a little bit further along in life,
Yeah.
and is not doing as hot,
Yeah.
which is great to see. Not in terms of I'm really happy he's not doing well, but just like,
Well, it's cool
The-
to like
the-
just
the
as a
tone.
fan of Peter Parker himself.
yeah,
Like you
Yeah.
want to check back in with these characters. You want to know you want to know the whole story because like for you and me and for a lot of people you know that are older and younger than us, they attach themselves to these characters at a young age.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
as you grow older, you want to know that they are going through the same things you are.
yeah,
You know, you want to know that they also struggled with some of these things and came out the other side. You know, and I think that's the perfect way to like check back in with Peter Parker is like to see, oh, he's struggling. He's struggling to like be an adult. He's struggling to accept adulthood and you know, stop just eating pizza all the time and binge watching shows and whatever it is, you know, and to actually take on some bigger responsibilities in his personal life,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. And he's a bit more world weary of being Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know, he's like when they go to the lab, and Miles is like, "Oh, we can swing there," and he's like, "No, like,
No, we're
why?
taking the bus, bro.
Yeah, like, there's no reason to." You know, he's
Yeah.
at that point where it's all like the excitement of it is just worn off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and Aunt May's died in his universe as well.
Yeah.
So he's, you know, he's pretty much lost everything.
Yeah.
And the reason that him and MJ broke up were because she wanted a baby and he didn't feel like he was ready.
Yeah. Yeah, which is a
Which
great character
yeah.
arc. Like rewatching it again
Yeah.
and paying specifically. There's so much going on in this movie, and it works without paying attention to all the details. But when you start paying attention to all the details, you realize like why it's all working so well.
Yeah.
And like his character arc is so great because he's washed up, doesn't want kids, gets stuck with a kid through the whole movie, And then he has that line at the end of the movie where he's like, "I'm so proud of you. I love you. Do I want kids?"
That's a thing that I wanted to touch on as well. Just the way that it's so aware of the tropes and what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
That it can make jokes about it all the time. I really like, again, at the lab where Peter B. Parker's like, he's going to say you've got 24 hours. And then he's like, you've got 24 hours.
Yeah.
And it comes back and he's just like raising his eyebrows. It's like, yeah. I've been here before.
Yeah,
I've seen it. I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But it also plays with, those taking those expectations and then flipping them on their heads to where like there's a scene where they're also going into the lab and he's like, I'm gonna find the head scientist and get the thing, and he's like, oh, I know who the head scientist is. It's this Olivia, Dr. Olivia, whatever. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna step 3, re-examine my personal biases. But even with that, is like the first time I watched it, I mean, all the clues are there.
Yeah.
But just as like a dude who's, been used to superhero movies being a certain way, I still didn't see it coming. Like, and probably most people didn't see it coming that she was Dr. Octopus.
Yeah. I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's such a nice change, because it's a villain that obviously we're very familiar with. But it's just done in a different way, so it feels fresh.
Exactly.
I'm sure we'll talk about the villains a little bit as well. And then we've got Gwen Stacy as Spider-Woman.
Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen, yeah. Haley Steinfeld, who is... I love Gwen Stacy in this.
Yeah.
She's
awesome. In True Grit.
She is in True Grit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Haley Steinfeld, not Gwen Stacy. Her backstory, again, is a little bit different, and they zip through it really quick.
Yeah.
Peter Parker is her friend that dies, as opposed to Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
So he's still, playing that part. I assume that he became the Lizard in that world.
Maybe. Yeah,
I think that was
we might get more of her story in the next movie.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
I hope so. I'm not too familiar with like the comic book origins.
Yeah.
Of Gwen Stacy as Spider-Gwen, but I mean, yeah, she's great. I love their relationship between
her and Miles.
Herself and Miles.
Yeah, I assume that in the next one, like, we'll probably talk about predictions throughout this thing, and by the time this comes out, most people will have seen it already, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I assume they're going to develop that relationship into a romantic one. I mean, it seemed
that's where they're going.
Yeah, it seemed that was the kind of the vibe.
Yeah,
throughout this movie, but
because it's either Gwen Stacy or it's Peter Parker. So take your pick.
Yeah. I mean, you also have Penny Parker, but I guess maybe he's
Penny
related
Parker
to her, so that wouldn't be. Her last name's Parker, so that would be weird.
Yeah, John Mulaney as Peter Parker. Just that little bit of comedy throughout.
Yeah, and they expanded the character because, he came in. It's like with these animated movies, they plan a lot of it before they get the actors in there. And then once the actors get in there, they're like, holy, this is more like, I'll have to bleep that out. I'm trying not to cuss in this one. They're like, holy moly, this guy is so good. He's so much better than we ever could have imagined. That's how normal people talk. And and then and then they expanded the character because he embodied it and made it come alive, and they were like, oh well, you come up with all kinds of new ideas once an actor gets in the skin.
Yeah, he's got some of the best lines.
Oh,
like, do animals talk? I don't want to freak him out.
Yeah. And can you float in the air while you're smelling a delicious pie?
And then when he hands Miles the hammer and he's like, take it, it'll fit right in your pocket.
Yeah, which I hope happens. Like, that would be cool if in the next movie just like some random scene. He's like stuck in a situation he can't get out, and he just like pulls the hammer out and like uses it.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be really good. And then we've got Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir.
Which I love. Like Spider-Man, like besides Nicolas Cage, who I also love, Spider-Man Noir was like a really cool character that I liked before this movie came out. Like I was always like, man, this guy is like the coolest style. Like his just like his hat and his glasses and his whole like the gloves,
detective
and
stuff.
the pinstripes and like all of that. Like I love that, like, 1930s noir
I know.
look.
It's great. Yeah. Where's the breeze coming from? We're in a basement.
Peter Porker farting everywhere.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, he also has amazing lines. I mean, it's just...
He does. Yeah.
I mean, dude,
Whoa,
sitting in that...
Killer Origin.
Yeah. Sitting in that theater, for the first time watching this movie, I mean, people were just dying throughout, just laughing. Everywhere I go, there's wind, and the wind smells like rain.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
and then we get Penny Parker as well with her spider robot.
Did you know? Sarah says this to me all the time. She loves dropping this fact. Did you know that Penny Parker was created by Gerard Way, the lead singer of My Chemical Romance?
I did not know that, but that's rad.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
I mean, he, of course, created his whole comic book series that's now a Netflix show. It's not the X-Men.
The Umbrella...
Yeah, the Umbrella Academy. Yeah.
That was,
Yeah. He also created that. But yeah, just like a cool little fact dropped for you.
What I am interested to see in the next one is how prominent, I assume Gwen Stacy's going to play a big part, but how prominent, Peter B. Parker is. And then I don't think Noir's in it. I don't think Nicolas Cage is coming back.
Yeah, sadly, probably not. Penny Parker might come back. Because I
feel like
rewatching this one at the end, when the robot dies, I'm like, she's going to bring back a bigger, better robot.
Yeah. I feel like it's split in two, though. Out of the 6 that we see, we have the core. We have Miles, Peter B., and then Gwen, and then the disposable, which are really just
which you can interchange in the new one with new
variety.
people.
Yeah.
But they could give cameos. They could give little cameos or whatever. Just checking back in with them. I would be surprised if they didn't give Penny Parker a cameo where she was like, I recreated my robot. You know, just for fan service and to be like, oh, the robot's back, Yeah. Because that's like a sad moment at the end.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. And like Peter B. Parker, I do feel like he's going to be a big part because he's so popular. And I also have seen some posters and some trailers that I wish I hadn't seen that you probably saw them as well. I assume.
I'm trying to stay away as much as possible.
Okay, well then I won't tell you what I saw.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious what it is.
Yeah, where it's going from the end of the last one. Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, I guess one of the bigger prominent characters is going to be Spider-Man 2099, which they tease at the end. Miguel is his name. Right?
Yeah. I believe so. The interesting thing here for me is that if he's going to be the villain, then we're not going to maybe have a rogues gallery. It will be just Spider-Man everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Just like Spider-Man versus Spider-Man.
Yeah. Which a part of me is like, okay, cool, because there's a lot of different Spider-Men out there.
But the other side is like, I love the rogues gallery of villains. Give me more, please.
Exactly, yeah. There's always so many more. Where's Hobgoblin? Where's, everybody else?
Well, and also the new one's going to be a 2-parter, so it's going to do something at the end that just is like a huge cliffhanger, and you're just like, oh, But it comes out in less than a year. Like, it comes out next March.
Yeah. So it's going to be
We don't have to wait that long.
no. I mean, do you want to try it? Do you want to? Because I think prediction wise, personally, if there's a universe of if there's a Spider-Verse, there's going to be different universes of the Rogues Gallery. So I just
Yeah,
imagine
exactly.
this
Yeah,
big,
different versions of the villains.
yes, coming together, and the Spider people are having to fight them all off.
Well, also they can take more risks with this movie. Like
Yeah.
I was looking on the behind the scenes stuff of the Blu-ray today of Into the Spider-Verse, and they have an alternate version of the movie that you can watch of just like a completely different version of the movie. And some of it
Wow.
is drawings
Yeah. Sketches and stuff.
yeah, sketches. Why am I blanking?
Storyboard.
Yeah, storyboards. And but like the beginning, like the first 5 minutes of the movie is Peter Porker. And it's 5 minutes of Peter Porker in his universe fighting villains and then getting sucked into the Spider-Verse. And then you get the intro, the normal intro with the music and the Columbia stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then and they have the completely alternate version. So like I imagine that they could do more stuff like that in this movie where they're like in other universes that are different animation styles, like they did at the end of Into the Spider-Verse, where 2099 goes into the 60s Spider-Man and he's like, you're pointing at me, and
Yeah.
I can imagine they would do whole sequences like that.
Yeah, I hope so. I think that's. Yeah, I hope, because it's from the trailers that I've seen. I think it's going to be hard to catch everything that's going to be in this next film
Oh yeah.
on a first watch. Just the images of like.
I hope I can see it
hundreds-
3 times before we talk about it on Film
Yeah.
Church.
Yeah, it's gonna. There's going to be a lot in there to unpack.
Yeah.
Just seeing it once isn't going to be enough.
No. But I can't wait, dude. I cannot wait. I love Spider-Man
know.
so much. And like I feel incredibly lucky that Spider-Man is like who I picked. But I
Yeah,
mean,
I
I guess
know.
a lot of people did, and that's why we're getting so much of it.
Yeah.
But like
But we're eating good though. I mean, it's not like, crap. Everything.
exactly.
The last. If this is a good film, the last 5 will all have been, 5 stars.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like,
the 5 of the biggest movies.
yeah, and like critically good as well.
Exactly.
Not just
yeah. Not just box office success.
fan service. Yeah, exactly. Yes, and then obviously we have Miles.
Miles Morales,
As-
dude.
Yeah, as our main hero, our Spider-Man.
Who's incredible. I mean, it's
Yeah,
so
oh my
good.
God.
Shamik Moore as Miles Morales. Like I've been reading
Yeah.
more about him, and like he was like determined to be this character a couple of years before he even got cast. And
That's
like,
awesome.
yeah, it's just kind of crazy because like I said, that Miles Morales didn't get introduced until 2011, but like there was kind of a campaign before that. There was like there was like Barack Obama becoming president in 2008.
Yeah,
And Marvel started considering the idea of like, oh, maybe we should re-examine our heroes,
Mhm.
what they could look like potentially. And then there was Tobey Maguire getting fired and Sam
Yeah.
Raimi from the franchise, and them starting over again, like right after. I mean, it took no time to be like, it's like in between the Batman movies, we had a few years at least, in between
yeah,
Batman and Robin and Batman Begins, there was some time to be like,
yeah.
let's let that rest and do some other things. Let's
Yeah.
bring Batman back now. They took no time in between Toby
Yeah.
and the next Spider-Man movie. And so they had, different people trying out for the part, and they had kind of narrowed it down to like 5 people. And that got released online, like the 5 different people that they were considering to play the next Peter Parker in a new origin story Spider-Man movie, which nobody really wanted.
No.
We wanted more Spider-Man, but we didn't really want a reboot. like
Yeah.
right after, like literally.
Yeah.
And it was all just some white dudes. And somebody was like, and you gotta realize this is like 2010. Okay. The MCU is not that big. Iron Man did good, but nobody is like, Iron Man's my guy yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The biggest superhero movie at that time was The Dark Knight
Mm-hmm.
that had come out in 2008. That was everybody's thing. So you've got, maybe we'll put it in the show notes. You got to go watch the clip of Donald Glover in his stand-up talking about this, because he's like, he talks about how people were like, okay, well, if we're gonna do a Spider-Man movie with a new cast right after, taking no time, let's just make it very different. Like, why not try to make it more dark? Why not try to make it like The Dark Knight? And why don't we like make him black? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then people read that and they were like, let's make Donald Glover Peter Parker. And he like retweeted it. And I'm just paraphrasing exactly what Donald Glover said. So you should go watch the clip. But like, it's interesting that like Donald Glover was part of the inspiration for Miles.
Mm-hmm.
Because people were like, yeah, like Donald Glover would be a great Spider-Man. And then other people were like, no, he's black. This could never happen. This is Peter Parker is white. He's white, just like all this internet rage. And then Mark Bernardin wrote an article about why it makes so much sense that Spider-Man would be black. Because if you've ever been to New York City, especially today, yeah, he would be black.
Yeah.
And so that stuff was happening in like 2010, and then literally a year later, they started dropping the Miles Morales comics. And then I think it was like 2014, Sony started toying with the idea of doing an animated movie and went to Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who had done, I think the Lego movie had just come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they had also done the 21 Jump Street movies, which are buddy cop movies. And Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a buddy cop movie.
Yeah.
It literally, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But like, they went to them, and it was Phil Lord and Chris Miller who were like, well, what about Miles Morales? Like, let's make that movie. And luckily Sony was interested in that. And so it took 4 years to like, I mean, they spend extra time on animations because you can,
Yeah.
But yeah, 4 years from the time they started working on it to the time it came out in like December 2018, so probably more than 4 years. And about the same amount of time has passed since that one has come out. It's been 4.5 years since this movie has come out. But yeah, I mean, Miles Morales is Spider-Man. He is synonymous with Spider-Man now, which is amazing, dude. It's like one of the most iconic superheroes within a matter of a few years. Well, instantly, honestly. When this movie came out, it just was.
Yeah.
It was like God handed you a new chapter of the Bible, and you're like, it's the Word of God. Miles Morales is Spider-Man.
Because I really thought that in No Way Home that Miles was going to show up at some point. Because obviously Danny Glover is in. Danny Glover?
Danny Glover.
Oh my God. Donald Glover.
Donald Glover, who is Danny Glover's son. Not really.
is in Homecoming.
Yeah, as Aaron Davis.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he mentions his nephew.
Exactly.
And that kind of like, again, sparked the, like, oh my God, Miles Morales is in this universe, blah, 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 blah. And we have yet to see him.
Yeah, but now it's kind of a perfect time for him to show up because
100%. Let's do it.
because so many years has passed
yeah,
since
yeah,
Spider-Man: Homecoming. Not only that, the blip happened, so we don't know if Miles was blipped or not.
Yeah.
Like, did he age even more, or is he the
Yeah.
same age? Like,
yeah.
it's kind of perfect for them to be able to just say whatever they want.
And I feel Marvel at the moment, all the films that I've seen recently are really, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, they're in this Black Panther Wakanda Forever to a certain degree of having the younger characters start to come to the fore.
Yeah.
Like they've got the, like Doctor Strange, and then we had...
Yeah, I
was
mean, it seems like they're
America?
leading up to like the Young Avengers and the Dark Avengers or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be a perfect time to do it. But I don't think it would beat this version of Miles Morales.
No.
I think it would be incredibly hard because not only is the voice perfect from more, but also the animation and he's just got a completely different style.
Dude,
in
and
terms
his
of the
style
way
is
that he
so
swings,
cool.
the way that he falls,
Yes.
the way that, he fights everything. It's like, it's spot on. It's just a culture class. It's like everything in one.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. It's like a street version of the classic Peter Parker that we know.
But that's the thing, is the classic Peter Parker is supposed to be a street level hero.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if you're a New York City street level superhero, of course you're black,
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
but yeah, like his, oh my God, his suit,
Yeah.
the coolest freaking Spider-Man suit out there.
Yeah. It is. It is incredible. Yeah.
The scene where he's like jumping off the building for the first time. What's up, danger?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that dude. I mean, I love so many parts of this movie. That part is like, bro.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
should watch that every morning while getting
Just to
ready
get
for work.
hyped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or while working out, or just 24/7.
Yeah. I know. It is the film that you finish watching and you're immediately like, I want to press play on this again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I want to go and live in this film for a little bit more.
Let's do this 20 more times.
Yes, please. Yeah. Even the origin stuff is like great though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
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 Oh,
The soundtrack,
yeah. Great.
amazing.
Again, it just But that's the joy of it being animated, is it can play with these like mic drops and needle drops, and it can include these songs that wouldn't necessarily work in a live action.
Yeah.
And obviously it's really weird. it gets really strange, which is great. That's exactly how you want it.
Yeah.
The end fight in the Super Collider, I want to call it. That might be the wrong
Yeah, I think that's right.
term that they used. I mean, with the trains and the buildings and like, oh my god, it's like a
And it's so emotionally heightened too, like when
yeah.
they let everybody through the portal except for Peter B. Parker, and then Kingpin shows up, and Peter B. Parker is like, "No, I'm gonna fight him," and Miles
Yeah.
is like, "No," and they fight for a second, and then he like swings around, trips him. He's holding on to him, and he's like, "You gotta go home, bro." Like that part, man.
Yeah.
Like that. It's so. I don't know. The emotions are
Yeah.
so high right there. And he's like,
Yeah.
"What if I mess it all up?" And he's like,
You just know they've saved each other.
"Yeah,
It's great.
Yeah.
And that's what Spider-Man's all about.
yeah."
Oh.
Yeah, and then I love, and then Miles faces Kingpin alone,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then gets the crap beat out of him, and
Mhm.
then he wins by like doing the thing that his uncle taught him, which is such a great tie-in, where he just like
Yeah.
he just
Hey.
puts his hand on him. Yeah, he's like, "Hey." And then he like Kingpin floats around. He looks like a little balloon.
Yeah.
He's just
Yeah.
like floating around with arms and a head.
Oh, dear.
It's so great.
I love that he's not afraid to be. I don't know what the word is. Like emotional. Like when he finishes and he goes and hugs his dad as Spider-Man, and he's like, "I love you."
Yeah, and he's like,
And
"What?"
yeah. But I mean, that's again, that's a side that you don't necessarily see.
Exactly.
It's
in Spider-Man or like
yeah, just in general.
yeah. Well, and in male characters or whatever.
Yeah, because there's a lot there about him really wanting him to succeed, sending him to this school, and it's a different. The Peter Parker that we grew up with was incredibly smart, and the only thing standing in his way of doing really well at school and everything was Spider-Man. Whereas here, it's kind of like he doesn't feel like he belongs in that environment.
Yeah.
He knows he's smart, but he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Did you catch that his dad is like his stepdad?
I didn't.
So his name is Jefferson Davis. And obviously it's Miles Morales.
Yeah.
So he's
What's
like
his mom called?
I believe his mom's last name is Morales.
Huh.
Yeah, because he is like he's half Puerto Rican, half African American.
Oh, and obviously his mom is
Natalie Morales, which adds like just another layer of like reality. I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like so many people can relate to that because so many people have been raised by step parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like the movies we grew up on in like the 80s and the 90s were like, oh, stepfathers are like drunk wife beaters or something,
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas like that's not really the right representation. Like there's a lot of really great step parents out there, that people don't they don't call them their step parents. Like it's their parents, and this movie kind of embraces that.
Yeah.
Because you don't even know unless you're paying attention to like the last names. You don't know that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. And I really love Brian Tyree Henry's performance as well.
Yeah, dude. That dude is just
yeah.
He's amazing, and he's everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
and he has so much to do really because the emotion, he's got to be the stern father, but then emotional and like, towards the end, kind of there's a lot of range there.
Yeah.
And he pulls it all off.
With great ability comes great accountability.
Yeah, that's not the line.
Yeah. I assume he'll be in the movie a little bit in the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah. Man, what it like 2 movies.
What is going to happen?
2 movies. It's a 2-parter.
What is going to happen?
I just want so many of these movies.
Yeah.
I know they can't just stay being good forever, but I want them to.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we're recording this before it's been released.
Yeah.
I've seen a few things on Twitter where they're talking about it because it's been screened, I think, for the press now.
Yeah.
Because is it out this Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been screened for the press, and people are very hyped on it.
They like it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it looks so good, dude. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's got to be good. I mean, they spent 4.5 years on it. Come on, it's got to be good.
The only thing that I'm worried about is I am going to get the titles confused a lot.
Yeah.
We have Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, and then Beyond the Spider-Verse. I'm really going to be like, I don't know which one comes
Well,
first.
that's the problem with the home movies.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man home movies. So you got Homecoming, No Way Home, No Way Home and Far From Home are the hardest to keep track of.
I
Like,
know.
what?
Yeah. Far From Home, No Way Home, Homecoming. Yeah.
Spider-Man,
Someone tweeted the
homies,
other
homeboys.
Someone tweeted the other day, and they were like, "We're 10 years on. Mary Jane's married, but Peter Parker storms back into her life. We're about to sit down and watch Spider-Man Homewrecker."
I was thinking that too. Like, speaking of that, like, it's kind of funny. Obviously, we're on Spider-Man's side in Into the Spider-Verse, but it's like, bro, she wanted to have kids and you left. And then you just show back up like, okay, I'm ready now. Like, what if she moved on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you're not allowed to just be like, I got you some flowers. Sorry.
And a weak smile. Yeah.
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 But maybe they might joke around about that. Make
Yeah. I assume that the weird interaction he has with the other MJ at the party is like his audition. He's gonna get his rehearsal.
Yeah.
He's gonna go back and he's gonna have perfected what he wants to say.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I couldn't get you the bread.
I mean, they'll probably give us some. They'll do like what they did in this movie, where they do the comic covers.
Let's catch up.
Yeah, let's catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do hope that we get a few more of those for like the other teased. I've seen Spider-Punk and a few other Spider people teased, so I hope that we still get that.
Yeah.
Let's catch up.
Yeah.
Scarlet Spider as well, which I'm really excited about.
Yes. Yeah. I hope we get Ben Reilly.
Yeah.
That's a cool one.
Yeah. Ooh.
I know that. I'm sure you know this too, so I'm just gonna say it. The Spot.
The Spot.
The Spot guy. The villain.
Spot guy.
The Spot guy.
Gosh.
He's the guy that he has like portals. I think he's called the Spot. He's just like,
oh yes.
Yeah.
I do know him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's supposed to be in
I had to Google him really quick. Yeah. He is a villain.
Don't look too much.
Okay.
But
so he's called Spot. Yeah.
okay, yeah. I'm
interesting.
I'm excited. Of course.
What
If you couldn't tell.
Yeah. I mean, we talked on the Morbius episode about them just being like, which character can we use to just sell movie tickets? Let's just get these weak villains. But I feel like even the weakest villain would be
amazing in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
like,
if they make fun of Morbius and Venom in this movie, oh my god, please.
Do you think that we're gonna get like Tom Holland show up in this?
I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah.
But they would also have to explain it. If it's supposed to be Tom Holland, like MCU proper,
yeah,
they would have to explain why he's in a cartoon universe now.
Or, I mean, yeah, I've got a feeling there'll probably be a joke about. No,
well, they're gonna be in the Spider-Verse. The movie is across the Spider-Verse, so like this whole movie takes place in Miles Morales' world, but now Miles is going into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
I mean, even though it's called Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So now he's going across the Spider-Verse. So like they could do just quick little, like he looks over and looks through a portal and there's like Tom Holland doing his thing, and there's Toby doing his thing,
Yeah.
Like, and why wouldn't you? Like,
yeah, exactly. It could be done. Yeah. I am so excited to see what they've got planned.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Are you going? So are you going to watch this in London? I know you're flying out tomorrow.
Yes, we will be doing. We've already kind of we wanted to try and get Amelia to the cinema when we go to England for this vacation. We're thinking of going to see The Little Mermaid with her.
Has she never been to the cinema before?
Nope.
Oh,
never.
My God.
I know it's a momentous time. But I
The
have been
Little
very
Mermaid
vocal.
would be a good one.
That's what we're thinking, because we're like, if she doesn't like it, we can be like, cool, let's just go.
And just
You know,
leave
it's
early
not
or
like
whatever.
a yeah.
I feel like
it's
the
not
movie's
whatever.
gonna be so good, dude. When I watch the trailers for The Little Mermaid, I get goosebumps.
Mm.
It looks so good. But that also happened when I watched the trailers for Mulan.
Yeah,
And
I know.
then
I was so
everyone
hyped
said
for
it was
Mulan.
terrible, and I was like, that trailer was so good, I don't want to ruin the movie by going to see the movie.
Have you not seen it?
I still haven't watched
Oh,
Mulan
don't
because
do
I
it.
like
Watch-
to watch the trailer and be so inspired by it that
Yeah.
I don't want to watch the movie and ruin that.
Man, yeah, I ruined it.
But
Um,
but I don't know.
But yeah, so
Little
we-
Mermaid
we-
looks really good though.
yeah, so that's what we're thinking. But then I've also made it very plain that if we've got people there that can watch Amelia, I'm going to go and see Spider-Man.
By yourself.
Maybe, I mean, Chelsea can come if she wants.
But I'm
like,
going.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
how I am. I'm like, I mean, I'm like, sorry, Spider-Man trumps life right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and then maybe try and get to see it one more time before we next talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah.
But
As
you
many times
wouldn't
as
want
possible.
to take Amelia to see Into the Spider-Verse
No.
or Across the Spider-Verse.
I feel like she does love Spider-Man and she knows who Spider-Man is, but
It's a lot.
I
She's
want
only
to
like
watch
3, right?
yeah, she's 3.5.
Yeah,
I want
so-
to watch it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be distracted.
Yeah, yeah, you want to watch it. So it's like, yeah, it's not. You're going to see a cartoon for you, not for your child.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
It's about
This
your
is my cartoon,
experience.
damn it. Yeah.
That's funny, but cool. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
So excited.
I am too, dude. I am too. I'm sure there will be no short. I have not pre-bought tickets, so
No.
But
No.
I'm not worried about it because the last several Marvel movies that have come out, I haven't had to. It's like there's
Yeah.
literally 30 showtimes at one theater. You'll be fine. You can find a
Exactly.
seat in one of those showtimes.
Exactly. Yeah, my dad kind of had a quick look through showtimes when I last spoke to him for this, and he's like, "Yeah, it starts at like 10 in the morning, and it's like every hour
Yeah, exactly.
until like 9."
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Cool,
It's
I can at
so
least,
wild,
I'll
dude.
get 2 seats at some point."
It's so crazy.
Yeah,
This is what the movies have become.
I know. But it's so great to just be hyped about something.
Yeah.
To like, this movie's coming out that I cannot wait to see. It's not coming to streaming. You're gonna have to go and see it in the cinema. Like, I can already feel that it's not gonna let you down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm so ready.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I've felt like this since No Way Home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Which
it's not
was
just because-
only a year and a half ago. And like
It
that's what I'm
feels like so long.
It does, but that's what I'm saying about it's such a great time to be a Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
don't have to wait long at all. And the next
No.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is less than a year away. And by that
And-
time, we'll have more information about the next Tom Holland one.
I think it will be Christmas next year.
That the new Tom Holland one comes out, like Christmas
Yeah.
2024.
2024. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that sounds so soon, but they've been making those movies fast.
But this is the thing with No Way Home. I feel like when they announced that it was coming out, it was a bit of a surprise and it was like a year away.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, damn.
No, yeah, they
And I think-
churned those movies
yeah.
out, dude.
Yeah. And like, I know there was kind of talk around it, but it's gone very quiet. And I just wonder if they're like, getting ready to film.
Possibly. I mean, what are they gonna do? What's the next movie?
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, please, please, please just be street level.
Yeah, I really hope so, but it's like but Sony specifically has Venom 3 coming, They've got something with Craven going on, and you know they're
Yeah.
building towards Sinister Six. We don't know who the Spider-Man is going to be in that. Which you had predicted, I think, in our last Spider-Man special, that Gwen Stacy was like who you thought might be
Yeah.
the Spider-Man.
I think that would make sense because they've got the Madam Web film coming, and they've got
Oh yeah, that's right, Madam Web.
I forget her name. I forget the way because it's like let me have a look.
I really hope they can turn those movies around, because right now it's literally just a cash grab, and it's working, which is so annoying.
I know.
Because I'm still buying tickets and going to these movies.
Yeah.
But they teased Venom coming into the MCU at the end of No Way Home too.
They did, yeah.
So like, is it gonna be Tom Holland and Venom? But that's not really street level. I don't know.
I really
Like, who knows, dude? They always surprise me, and it makes me happy. Except for like,
just
Morbius. But
that was so far removed though from.
But I know, but that's what I'm
Spider-Man.
saying is that universe is now being connected to the MCU. I mean, at the end of Morbius, they brought in Michael Keaton
I know, yeah.
as Vulture,
And-
and it's like, what are you guys doing? Please don't mess
Stop.
it up.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Oh dear, Sydney Sweeney. That's who I think was going to play Gwen Stacy.
You're hearing it here, folks.
That's my assumption because Emma Roberts is also in that, who could potentially be Gwen Stacy, but
In the Madam Web movie.
yeah,
So she's cast in it, but it doesn't say who she's playing.
it doesn't. Same with Emma Roberts. So Dakota Johnson is Madam Web.
A
then
really interesting
you've got
choice.
Sydney
I mean,
Sweeney
obviously,
and
it's
Emma
like a
Roberts.
young Madam Web, right?
Yeah.
I always thought that Glenn Close would be an amazing Madam Web.
Oh my god. Yeah, that would. Yeah,
Like,
that would be
perfect
great.
cast.
Yeah, and then you've also got Adam Scott.
Oh, in Madam Web?
Yeah.
Oh, well, this movie might actually be good.
Does anybody think when they look at Adam Scott, oldest Peter Parker?
Everyone does. No, it says Ben Parker.
Does it say Ben Parker for that?
Yeah.
Oh.
In the cat, it says he's playing Ben Parker.
So Uncle Ben.
He's playing a young Uncle Ben. Oh, weird. So are they doing...
But
Oh, but that could still work. If
I mean,
Gwen
Peter Parker
Stacy,
is-
if Peter
yeah.
Parker dies, and we're getting Spider Gwen, then it makes sense that she would still be talking. Did we already? I feel like we already talked about this. I'm getting deja vu.
maybe. And then Emma Roberts is playing Mary Parker.
Yeah, which is that's his. Well, that's May. Right? Well, right? That's
Is
gotta
it?
be, unless that's Peter Parker's mom.
Uh,
Huh.
So Julia. So it says on here on IMDb that Sydney Sweeney is playing Julia Carpenter, which is a version of Spider-Man.
Huh.
Or Spider-Woman, quote unquote.
Okay, so they're doing Spider Woman. They're not doing Spider Gwen. They're doing Spider Woman, which is different.
Yes.
That's a separate comic book.
I assume so. But still, female, I mean...
I mean, you're pretty
Feel like-
right on the money. I mean, yeah.
But then again, you don't know what the deal is with Marvel. You don't know what Marvel are being like, we want this IP. They've got Peter Parker, but they probably want Gwen Stacy, Miles Morales for themselves.
You mean like MCU?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we're getting into like speculation again, but Tom Holland Spider-Man, Zendaya not being in it at all, and us being introduced to Gwen Stacy at this point.
In the MCU?
Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
like
well,
Ned
it
and
depends on
MJ.
what Sony owns. Like, you know, they don't own Miles Morales because that came around in 2011. So, like, but what do they own?
Yeah, but this is you don't know what the I mean, yeah, you don't know like in the contract that was like we are going to have lease Spider-Man from you or whatever the deal is. You know, we're going to make Spider-Man films with you in conjunction, but he can be in the MCU. What are the caveats to that? What are the, you know, we also have the right to make a Gwen Stacy film or, you know, introduce that character into this world. You don't know. But the fact that she's not being touched and she is such a, I mean, fan favorite, really.
Well, yeah,
and
especially now.
Recognizable name.
Yeah. Especially after this movie. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what I would want to see is Gwen Stacy in the Tom Holland one. But I feel like Zendaya is too big for her not to be a part of it now.
Yeah, but I mean, you could bring her. You could bring that back around and like.
Yeah,
I
MJ can
assume
come
what
back
they're
in a
gonna
few
do
years.
is a second trilogy. You know, where Spider-Man
Yeah.
is Spider-Man now instead of Spider-Boy. You know, and he's dealing with life on the streets and you know, trying to create an identity for himself and you know, be a hero and, you know, and be the adult and all of that stuff, like and you know, he could come back to her in the last one.
Yeah.
Or I
him
don't
and MJ
know.
could still end up together, but, you know.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah. We still
I
need to see the
mean-
Black Cat. I'm a big fan of the Black Cat as a villain and like a sparring partner. She's kind of like Catwoman.
Yeah.
I mean, she is.
She's
pretty much
basically Catwoman.
Yeah. But that would be cool. You know, I don't know. Any of it. All of it would be cool. Let's just have it all.
Yeah. Well, we're getting all of it, whether you want to or
Yay.
not.
Shall we guess what we each rated Into the Spider-Verse?
Well, I already saw, and I'm pretty sure you saw
Well-
what I rated it.
Yeah. Things change.
Did they? I think I saw what you rated it. I feel like I did. Or
Yeah.
did you change it?
No, I didn't change
Okay,
it,
so the
but I think that was
4.5
just from
stars
the
that you rated
previous-
it, that was the 1st time you saw it, the first several times?
Yes.
Okay, so I would assume, because I was going to ask you, why? What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Why is it?
Nothing.
Why the half star? Like, so it must be 5 now.
I think, yeah.
Okay.
I think it is fun. For you too.
Yes.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Bro. It's amazing, dude.
It's what you want to see in a Spider-Man film.
Yes.
They swing, they fight, they joke, they have heartfelt moments.
And it's
everything
also
you want.
like, it's kind of the same thing we were talking about with the Evil Dead movie, the Evil Dead Rise last week. They made a movie that is kind of a classic Spider-Man origin story.
Yeah.
Even down to the uncle dies.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But without you realizing it, and you're like, this is so fresh. But it's literally, they just recycled it. You know what I mean? But it did make it fresh. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and his name is Miles Morales, you know, MM.
it is.
Peter
Yeah.
Parker, PP, you know? It's like, but I love it.
Yeah,
Miles Morales is Spider-Man.
he sure is. So, do you want to tell us what we're going to be watching next week for Film Church, Brandon?
Next week, we're going to watch a film from 1980. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to watch Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse 2023.
Yeah.
Get your
It's gonna be part
whipping
2.
on.
Yeah. We're gonna more speculation, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna still talk about Gwen Stacy and how she's not being used enough.
Maybe not.
get ready
Maybe
for that.
not.
Yeah.
We'll find out. I am glad that we decided to do this before we saw the new movie, so that way we could kind of encapsulate.
Get excited for it.
Yeah, and encapsulate where our minds were. Because, like I said, people forget real quick where their heads were at before these movies came out. So, yeah, man.
Cool. Yeah, can't wait. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. You can find the show on Twitter and Instagram at Film Church Radio, and you can follow us individually on Letterboxd. Brandon is at Salmon Scope, and I'm at Walker Lewis 3007. Keep up with what we've been watching. We also have all of our back episodes streaming on all good podcast platforms, especially Spotify. So you can leave us a rating and review. So if we know if you like the film, if you didn't, what you'd pick for us to watch in the future. Thank you so much for being here and listening to us talk about Spider-Man again. We'll do the same next week. Can't wait. And we'll see you next Sunday for more Film Church. The only thing left to say is, that's all, folks.
Are you allowed to say that legally?
Amen.
Ah, man.